Great morning, fellow traders. This is Austin. It's August 7th, 8:42 a.m. Nothing done yet. I got started right around 6 o'clock watching the charts. There was nothing going on. They were in bearish mode, actually, bearish alignment, until the abrupt launch here around 7 o'clock. There were no buy signals. They just smoked right through for whatever reason. I'm going to assume this is war-related news. Markets are reacting to some kind of military conflict overseas, and then they've gone nearly 100 cents, about 90 cents from the bottom to the top, roughly. But there were no buy signals. There wasn't anything. The market was thin, and they were in a bearish alignment, a bearish zone on the charts that I use. And then all of a sudden, whatever happened just erupted, and they were gone. So that's pretty much the layout for so far this morning. Can assume there's a lot more to go in the pit session, but we have no idea. As I've said before, sometimes there's just one directional move in the overnight. Whether you catch it or not doesn't matter to the market. That's all there was. And then you struggle through the pit session all day and can't make anything out of anything because nothing exists. So we have no idea. But when it comes to crude oil, I have positive expectations on every trade. Every trade I take, I expect the market has the ability to follow through, and generally that's the case most days. So we'll see how this one goes. But the first 90-cent straight up rocket here, nothing actionable, and it is now 8:44. Alrighty, we're just a minute away from the pit session open in crude. I'm looking, it's still a sell bias, believe it or not, on the filter chart. So I'm looking short in the 97, below 97.20, put it that way. Somewhere short below 97.20, possible trip back down. And then I would be getting long in the 97.40 area on a confirm. So I don't have anything preset, nothing pre-staged. Wait for the pit to open. They'll whip them around probably for a minute or two. Whatever the next clear signal sets up is good. Could be short or long. So sit, watch, and wait and see how price reacts. 9 o'clock. Okay. Well, after a fair bit of back and forth, it's been chop so far this morning. Like we talked about, 97.05, 96.95 blended. Then I went to 97.02, and now I'm at 96.99. Minus 34 ticks is the current box score. It's been a chopper everywhere. Stocks are chopping too. TF is very whippy. And they both have open gaps below in stocks. The S&P is behaving a little better. It's been on a sell from 1923 zone and has tortured that, but it's honoring it for now. The TF's whipped all over, and it's not something that I trade anymore or even try to work with. That would be the Russell specifically. It's just too illiquid. If somebody, and I've said this many times, if someone wants to dabble with a contract or two and try to accomplish whatever they can in the Russell, then that's fine. It makes great range moves. But if I don't know any really serious professional trader who just dabbles with one or two or even three contracts. If you're a serious pro, you're going to trade a lot more than three. You're going to trade 5, 10, 20, something like that in time. Russell doesn't permit that. Crude oil does, on the other hand. You can get all the size you want, individually speaking, in crude oil. There was a time when a lot of prop traders in crude oil would work 200 lots, 100 and 200 lots, and I don't know that that's possible anymore. But certainly, if you want to trade 5 or 10 or 20, that's there all day. So anyway, that's not what I'm doing, by the way, by no means. So
Trade sim today is just bad, tough day. I have not myself. Am still trading live.
well, anyways,
But
they're working around the bottom of the open range. We'll see what happens. It is 10 o'clock Eastern. Okay, trying this again. Short 97.10 and 96.90. Though one is a pullback, the 97.10 is a deep pullback, the 96.90 is a breakout down in this case, and price is just chopping a range. The last stop actually got knocked out minus 2 ticks from where it was set. So it's a thin market today, and it's the same thing in stocks. All they're doing is wedge chopping right around the open range. The same thing the crude oil's doing, wedge chopping right around the open range. So see how they behave, but just not a lot going on. In crude, like I said earlier and yesterday and other times, I trust that it's going to go the distance on every single attempt. And by no means does every single attempt go the distance, but I trust that it will. I have those expectations, and more often than not, it does. I don't have those expectations in stocks. Anytime I take a trade over there, mentally I expect it's going to get chopped, and that's just the difference between experience in the markets. Stocks tend to congest and chop a lot more than crude, and let me say that crude will congest and chop a great deal also, but eventually, more often than not, it will break and run and give you a chance to prevail or at least bail out or whatever the case may be. So all I'm doing is just sticking with the script, but you can see here the visual. They're just chopping inside of the open range for now. There's nothing happening. And it's the same thing in the stocks. For whatever reasons, that's the market so far today. It is 10:20 Eastern. All right, so a big pile of nothing this morning. Absolutely nothing happening. We had, like I said, in the pre-market, there was this jack of almost 100 cents, and then we don't. That might be it. For all we know, they're going to go through the entire pit session here and do absolutely nothing. I said that 2 hours ago in on clock time. Or the next potential push is going to be that's going to be the money move. In this case, I'm looking. I'm ignoring the long side unless or until they can get up into this zone. So no longs for me up there. And then I'm looking for the short side, down here somewhere below the open range, and everything. Hello, it's not there. Everything inside of here is a no-go zone. Now that it's established that this is a chop, that's no go. So I'm looking, and not on this chart, but on my trigger charts, I'll reset, and I will look only for long signals up here or sell signals down here, and I'll ignore everything in between. And that's really one of the only ways to defeat chop on a day like this. So there we are. Sit, watch, and wait. 10:34. Okay, this is the make or break sequence right here. I am at minus 45 cents, and that came from short again, the 90 zone that popped and stopped, and now I'm short the 85 zone. If they pop it again and take this order out, then I'm done for the day. It's just minus 50 ticks is a max shutdown. That means one of two things: either I'm not happening or the market's not happening. So in today's case, I talked about it in the pre-market right from here. I said this might be it, and they might just whip chop, go nowhere the rest of the day, or they might whip chop all morning, and then this afternoon something good happens. We don't know, but minus 50 ticks or thereabouts is automatic shutdown for the day, and then reconvene. My personal objective is I'm looking for 200 ticks per month, not a week, not a day. I would like thousands. I would like thousands of ticks, but I'm looking for 200 a month minimum. And part of that is not digging big holes. So I don't consider a minus 50 tick session a big hole. That's just a controlled day where nothing went on. A lot of those days are going to be there, and that's the way it is. So make or break here. We're either going to wrap it up at minus 50, or we're going to party on and finish up something better than that. Time will tell. 10:46. Okay, the day is resolved. It is 10:51. It is a max loss shutdown, and that's it. I try to keep losses contained to minus 50 cents, minus 50 ticks, however you want to say that, and that's been today. Now, that doesn't mean the opportunity is over with. For all we know, crude oil is going to make huge straight line move down. It's going to turn and make a huge straight line move up. Nobody knows. Stocks are on the move right now. They've gone from chopping all around to straight line down. I have no idea why crude isn't or what it's going to do, but one thing's for sure, I'm done with it. Because if you don't have a cap loss for the day, then surely you're going to find yourself in days where you're down 1,000 cent, 1,000 ticks, 100 ticks or 100 cents, $1,000 a contract, whatever the case may be. There has to be an uncle point where, like, this is it, and for whatever reason, if I hit that mark, just going to shut it down for the day, and that's that. So I've hit that mark. There was absolutely nothing I could make happen inside of all of this, and that's how it goes. Back to work tomorrow. Early shower today. See you then.